Hi, it's me Balamurugan from Informatica Global Customer Support Team. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to configure Tooltip message for multiple fields in IDD. This is for Informatica NDM MD 9.7.1 version. So here's the agenda today. What is Tooltip in IDD and where it is needed and how to customize it and configure it. And there will be a quick demo on how to configure it. So what is Tooltip in IDD and what is this term called multiple fields? So there is another video KB which talk about only one field which is configured in my IDD and there was a validation which was done. But if there are multiple fields and how I can do that in a single cleanse function and show the tooltip message to the user. So in this video, I will be talking about that. So what is tooltip? It's a kind of a short message to a user when hovering over the fields in IDD. Maybe you can show some kind of a validation messages like how to use the particular field or what is the format type which needs to be entered for that particular field in IDD. And we can show some business information about each field. Maybe let's say you have mobile number field, right? So you need to enter only 10 digits and that should be in the format of numbers. So you can do all those kind of business information and you can show that in the kind of validation messages as a tooltip. And you can show the multiple messages in the same form. That's what in this video is more talk about. And we can show that cleanse validation errors. Like you can show like it's a null field or not, or is it a string field or not. Those kind of validation errors can be accomplished in this tooltips. And this is the business requirement I have. Let's say I have an employee record and in that employee record, my first name and then the salary should not be empty. So I have created a employee record field in my IDD, but I need to validate and I need to show to an end user if they are missing out this first name and salary, they are trying as an empty value, right? So user needs to define some cleanse function to validate this. So I will show you how to do that. And I need to show a tooltip in each field. Like for each field, I need to have some kind of a proper message to the end user so that they will get to know what the kind of validation it throws and what's the format of data they need to enter or they need to perform. So these are the prerequisites for this. Cleanse function we need to create in IDD MDM Hub console and IDD cleanse configuration for your subject area and the message bundle for displaying the customized tooltip. So there are other local users, right? So we need to have a message bundle property that needs to be displayed based on the local settings, whatever they choose for the IDD application. So the important note is that variable name used in IDD cleanse functions would match the prefix used in Hub console. I will show you in the demo on what is that around the topic. I'll just go through my application first. So this is my sample application. So in my application, I don't have any validation right now. Let's say I'm just clicking on apply. So now it's storing this first name and salary. I mean, it's a possibility of storing this value with a null value, right? First name and salary. So I want to have a check on this particular first name and salary with some validation messages and I need to show some tooltip to the user on each field when you click on apply. I want to save this. So what I have done is have created a cleanse function and made this inputs. If you see this inputs, right, this should be in the first name and salary that you have created in your schema. Let's say go to schema. In this one, your first name and salary should be in this format. So I need to have that as an input, and I'm just checking whether this string is empty or not. I'm just checking the null condition, and this choose string, and this is the message I'm going to display. So this first name is a prefix, that is a mandatory one, that needs to be equal to your IDD variable. I mean, in IDD configuration, we need to configure a cleanse function. I will show you what is that prefix and what needs to be matched. And this is the format we need to use. Like this is a key. This is a key for your validation message, and it needs to be end up with a semicolon. And I'm just checking this first name and salary. Is it a string empty or not? And then I'm just using this concatenation. And this concatenation message needs to go through this validation status. If you see, this output needs to be in the validation status. Right. So I have created my, as per my prerequisite, I have created my cleanse function in Hub console. Now I need to log in into my IDD configuration page. And in this configuration page, I have my subject area, employee. In this subject area, I need to configure my cleanse configuration that is created in my Hub console. So that is under custom library, and I'm choosing this test employee as a cleanse function name. And this is the first name as my input, and this is my salary page. So I told you, right, there is a prefix we need to follow for this message. So this should be equal to the value which is there in my IDD configuration. This first name and salary. This needs to be matched, and this is a case sensitive, so you need to be careful on giving this name. If there is any space or something, then if there is a chance of missing that out. So I just configured it, cleanse function to my IDD application. I'm just saving this particular application and just quickly validating this. No errors. Just clicking on clear cache and then do redeploy to make sure there won't be any. And I'm just logging into my application. And there is one more thing we need to configure, right? So here there is a message. There is a message key. But what is the actual text needs to be displayed for my tooltip? That we need to configure in my messages bundle. I told you in my prerequisite, right? So we need to have a message bundle. So that is with the name of messages bundle underscore en. For any other locale, so we need to configure based on underscore and then the language name, en or Japanese or French. So those kind of validations messages we can provide like this format, validation underscore, and then this should be same as your message. This message true string messages, right? So this should be same as this. If there is any space, then it will not take up correctly. So better you can give underscore so that you won't miss any text. And validation underscore this one and equal to this value. So this is the key, and this is my value for my property file. And once it is done, you can go to your IDD configuration and select this application, like import to existing IDD application. And once it is selected, you can choose messages bundle, and this will change. I have done it in this file, messages bundle underscore en dot property. So once it is done, and do I import. Now I have multiple field validation, and this field validation value, like the tooltip text, I have given it and imported it. Now my application is ready to display the validation messages according to my business requirement. So I'm just logging into my application and clicking on new, and then I'm just keeping this value as empty and clicking on apply. Now I can see this value, like provide first name, don't leave this blank, and you can see salary value should be entered. It's a mandatory to enter this value. So if you see here, right, this is a message bundle I have defined. So this can be configured like whatever the business requirements you have. So this is how you can manage multiple fields tooltips based on the concatenation. So so you can have n number of inputs based on the IDD form field, whatever you want to configure, and you can do all those cleanse functions here, and then you can do a concatenate and point it to a validation status. So this validation status is a case sensitive, so you should not leave any space between these two, validation and status. So it should be like a single word, validation status, so that you will get a proper message and in the customized message to your IDD application. That's all in my video KB, and here is a summary. There is a video KB already available to configure customized tooltip. That is only for the single field, but here in this multiple field configuration, because many customers were asking like how we can configure it multiple fields to a single kind of tooltip message. So this is what it is, and you can find it in the other KB 335573 on how to configure this in multiple fields. We are loving to hear feedback from you in support videos at informatica.com, and you can follow us on Twitter with the info support as a handle. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.